There comes a moment in life when the noise around you fades, yet the silence inside feels heavier than words can carry. Outwardly, everything may look fine. You smile, you continue your routine. But within, there's a quiet ache, a storm no one else can see. The weight of your own thoughts presses on your chest, and even in the stillness, you feel surrounded by a restless emptiness. If you've ever felt this, know this truth. You are not walking this path alone. Every human heart has its seasons of heaviness, yet hidden within that struggle is a profound gift, the possibility of healing. And here's the secret the Buddha reminded us of long ago. The journey to peace does not begin in the outer world. It begins within. You don't need to run from place to place, searching for what feels missing. The calm you seek, the strength you long for, the love you crave, they already live quietly within you, like seeds beneath the soil waiting for the rain. Today, we take a gentle step inward, not as students chasing answers, but as travelers returning home. Together, we'll explore 10 timeless truths from the Buddha, teachings that are less like lessons and more like medicine for the spirit. This is not just another video, and I don't want you to simply listen. I invite you to rest here, to let this space be a sanctuary, a soft refuge where your emotions are welcome, where your weary mind can set its burdens down, and your soul can finally breathe again. So if you can, close your eyes for a moment. Take one slow, deliberate breath. Feel how even a single breath can begin to soften the edges of pain. That is where healing begins, not in effort, but in returning to yourself. Remember this: you are not broken. You are worthy of love, worthy of peace, and worthy of becoming whole again. With the gentle light of Buddhist wisdom to guide us, let us walk together, step by step, towards stillness, compassion, and the quiet strength of inner dignity. Lesson 1. The river of change. Nothing remains still. When pain settles in our hearts, it convinces us that time has stopped. The sorrow feels endless, as if life has frozen in place, trapping us in a moment that refuses to move. But the Buddha's wisdom reminds us of a gentle truth. Everything flows, and nothing in this world ever remains the same. Think back to the nights when loneliness wrapped around you like a heavy cloak, when the hours dragged on and you wondered, will this feeling ever release me? In those moments, despair whispers that suffering is permanent. Yet life itself speaks otherwise. The seasons never pause. Winter does not resist the arrival of spring. The ocean's tides never remain frozen. They rise and fall again and again. The sun never forgets to set, nor does it fail to rise. Existence itself is a dance of impermanence, a truth the Buddha called anicca. No emotion, no pain, no joy, nothing stays forever. Even when grief feels unbearable, it is not eternal. Just as snow surrenders to the warmth of spring, your pain too will shift, soften, and transform into something new. The burden you carry today will not always feel this heavy. One day it will rest in your memory, not on your shoulders. The darkest night cannot silence the dawn. It must eventually yield to light. So too will your suffering give way to peace. This moment, however sharp it feels, is not the full story of your life. It is one chapter in a much larger book. The struggles you face today are quietly shaping you, refining your strength, and deepening your compassion for the road ahead. When your heart feels overwhelmed, remember this truth: all storms pass. What feels endless is but a passing wave in the vast ocean of your existence. Trust the current of time. Trust that beneath the turbulence, peace is waiting to surface. The only constant in this universe is change. And within that change lies the very thing you long for: renewal, healing, and the chance to begin again. Lesson 2. Lean into pain instead of running away. There is no denying it. Pain hurts. Each of us carries hidden wounds, though we rarely let them show. We laugh when our hearts are breaking. We bury ourselves in noise, scrolling, working, filling the silence. Because silence often brings us face to face with what aches inside. Yet no matter how far we run, the pain waits quietly, patient and persistent, longing not to punish us, but to be seen. The Buddha taught that what we resist only clings tighter to us. A wound ignored cannot close. It deepens. But when we turn toward our pain, when we acknowledge its presence instead of fleeing, we discover it was never an enemy. It is a teacher, arriving with a message. Instead of asking, "Why are you here?" ask, "What lesson have you come to offer me?" Sit with it. Listen. Even if its voice is silence, silence itself can be profound. Your pain is not a curse. It is a part of you that has lost its way home. When you stop hiding it, when you welcome it like an old companion, it begins to soften. And in that softening, something extraordinary unfolds. You start to reconcile with yourself. True strength is not the mask of unshakable composure. It is the quiet courage to whisper, "Yes, I am hurting, and still I will grow." Every scar becomes a line in your story, a testament to your endurance. Every tear carries wisdom, like rain that nourishes the earth. And every crack within you is not weakness. It is the sacred space through which the light of transformation enters. You don't need to strive for perfection. You only need to be real. For the moment you accept your brokenness with tenderness, you begin to uncover your wholeness. In meeting your pain with compassion, you reclaim the lost fragments of your soul and step closer to peace. Lesson 3: Healing through the gentle art of self-compassion. Healing does not begin the moment someone finally notices you or when the world decides to shower you with love. It begins the moment you turn inward and offer yourself the tenderness you've been waiting to receive. So often, we crumble at life's smallest wounds: a passing rejection, a cold silence, an unmet expectation. These moments sting not simply because of what others do, but because they stir the hidden insecurities within us. They awaken the quiet question, "Am I truly enough?" The Buddha's teaching shines a gentle light here. The deepest wound is not the lack of love from others, but the neglect of love from within. We chase validation endlessly, hoping someone else will complete us while abandoning our own hearts in silence. Yet the truth remains. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Pause and feel those words. You are not broken. You are not unfinished. You are not waiting to be made whole. You are simply being called back to yourself. Imagine how life might soften if you treated yourself as worthy of kindness. If each morning began not with criticism, but with a quiet smile in the mirror. What if your mistakes became teachers instead of weapons, and your flaws became reminders that you are human, not reasons to hide? This is not arrogance. It is wisdom. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is truth. To love yourself is to sit with your pain, to cradle your brokenness with gentleness, and to refuse to abandon yourself in the very hour you need your own presence the most. When you anchor in this love, solitude loses its sting. The need for endless reassurance begins to fade. Instead, you grow roots, deep, unshakable roots within your own being. Real healing does not pour in from the outside. It blossoms from within, in the quiet decision to remain by your own side. So the next time you feel unseen or overlooked, stop chasing the gaze of others. Close your eyes, breathe, and softly say to yourself, "I see you, I honor you, I love you." In that moment, you will discover the companion you've longed for has always been here, steadfast, loyal, and unshakable. From this wellspring of inner compassion, no wound is too deep to heal. Lesson 4: Silence as the medicine of the soul. Not every wound is healed by doing more. Sometimes the greatest healing comes not from effort, but from stillness. We live in a world that glorifies speed, always moving toward the next goal, the next distraction, the next demand. Surrounded by constant noise, We forget that the loudest voice is often the one inside our own minds. Yet the Buddha taught, a disciplined mind brings happiness. And discipline does not always mean striving. Sometimes it means resting in silence. For in silence, clarity reveals itself, not through force, but through presence. Try this simple act. Put everything aside, close your eyes, and let the outer world dissolve. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable. Restlessness stirs. Forgotten wounds rise to the surface. Old fears knock at the door. But this is not a sign of failure. It is the threshold of transformation. When you stop running from yourself, you finally begin to meet yourself. In that quiet space, a gentle voice begins to emerge. It will not thunder, it will whisper. It might say, "You are not broken. You are only weary. Return home to yourself." This voice is not the chatter of ego. It is the deeper knowing of your soul, the part of you that has been waiting patiently to be heard. Sitting in silence is not easy, but it is sacred. As you surrender to stillness, the noise in your mind begins to thin, like clouds parting after a storm. The tension in your chest loosens. What once felt overwhelming now begins to soften, and slowly you see life more clearly, not distorted by fear or anxiety, but illuminated by presence. This is where healing begins, not in escape, but in the courage to be here, fully and completely. So the next time life feels unbearably loud or unbearably fast, try something truly radical. Pause, breathe deeply, close your eyes, step gently into the silence within. There, waiting like a hidden spring, you will find that the peace you have been chasing was never lost. It has been with you all along. Lesson 5. Returning home to the present moment. Peace does not live in yesterday, nor does it wait for you in tomorrow. It breathes only here, in the quiet rhythm of this very breath. And yet, most of us move through life carrying the weight of two worlds, the shadows of the past and the worries of the future. We wake each morning, but yesterday clings to our shoulders. We walk through the day, but our minds wander to memories we cannot change, or mistakes we wish we could erase. Then, when night comes, instead of resting, we find ourselves building stories of fears that haven't even happened yet. This is the hidden suffering of modern life, being here in body, but absent in mind. The Buddha reminded us that true aliveness exists only in the present, and yet we scatter ourselves everywhere but here. We replay old wounds like a broken record. We rehearse problems that may never come. And all the while, life itself passes silently in front of us, unnoticed. But pause and reflect. Can reliving the past undo it? Can worrying about the future bend it into your control? Number. The only doorway to healing, the only ground beneath your feet, is now. Take a moment to notice this breath, rising, falling. Listen to the world as it is in this instant. The faint hum of the wind, the echo of laughter, the stillness of silence. Feel the fact of your own presence, not as an identity, not as a story, but as pure being. This practice is not about rejecting your past or ignoring your future. It is about refusing to miss what is already here. Every breath, every second, is a piece of life you will never receive again. To honor it is to honor yourself. When you choose to return to this moment, something shifts. The mind softens. The heart opens. Healing does not come because life has suddenly grown easier. It comes because you have stopped abandoning the only place where life is ever truly lived. So the next time your mind drifts backward into regret or forward into fear, pause gently. Ask yourself, am I missing what is happening right now? Then breathe. Look around. Whisper to yourself, I am here. I am present. This moment is enough. Lesson 6. Healing by returning to the roots. The Buddha revealed a profound truth we often forget. Pain is not random. Every wound has a cause, and when we see that cause clearly, the weight of suffering begins to dissolve. Consider this not as a distant teaching, but as something deeply human. Imagine a young child. Let's call him Kieran. One day at school, he makes a small mistake, the kind any child might make. But instead of gentle guidance, his father scolds him harshly in front of his classmates. Laughter fills the room, and shame floods his little heart. The moment passes, but the wound lingers quietly within. Years go by. Kieran grows up, graduates, finds work, builds what looks like a successful life. Yet each time someone criticizes him, even lightly, his chest tightens, his confidence wavers, his hands shake. Others tell him, "You're too sensitive." But they cannot see the scar left behind, the root of suffering that was never faced. The Buddha once said, "Just as a tree cannot flourish if its roots are damaged, so too the heart cannot thrive if its pain remains unseen." Outwardly, we may smile, achieve, and distract ourselves. But if the roots of our being are withering, no amount of surface success can bring peace. So how do we heal? Not with more distractions, not with forced positivity. Healing begins in stillness, in the quiet courage to turn inward and ask, where did this begin? What lies beneath this fear? What memory am I still carrying? Perhaps someone you trusted betrayed you. Perhaps a dream was mocked. Perhaps at some point you abandoned yourself. Instead of facing it, you buried it. But buried wounds do not disappear. They whisper through our reactions, our doubts, our anxieties, waiting to be acknowledged. The Buddha taught, to understand is to be free. The moment you trace your pain back to its root, you shine a lantern in the darkness. Suddenly, what was hidden begins to lose its grip. It does not vanish overnight, but with each moment of clarity, its power weakens. Real liberation doesn't come from applause, from denial, or from pretending the scar isn't there. It comes from truth, quiet, courageous truth. And truth, once seen, is the first doorway to peace. Lesson 7. Freedom from the trap of comparison. There is a subtle thief that steals more joy than failure ever will. Its name is comparison. Unlike failure, it doesn't strike loudly. It slips in quietly, often disguised as inspiration, whispering, "Look at them. Shouldn't you be further along?" And little by little, it eats away at the peace within. The Buddha recognized that comparing ourselves is part of human impulse. But when this impulse is fed, it grows into poison. It doesn't just distract us, it dismantles our sense of worth from the inside out. In our age, the trap is everywhere. A few swipes on your phone, and suddenly you're staring into a gallery of curated lives. One friend scaling snowy mountains, another announcing a promotion, another smiling under lanterns in Bali. These fragments are polished, edited, framed in perfection. And yet, we weigh our raw, unfiltered lives against them. Then a whisper arises inside. Why not me? What am I lacking? But that whisper is born of illusion. For in that moment, you forget the battles you have fought silently, the distance you have walked without applause, the quiet victories no screen could ever capture. Every soul is its own story, and comparing your worth to someone else's highlight reel is like judging the depth of a book by glancing only at its cover. It dishonors your journey. Your life does not need to follow another's timeline. Flowers bloom at different seasons, yet each brings beauty to the earth when its time comes. The sun does not compete with the moon, and yet both light the world in their own rhythm. So too you will shine, not early, not late, but exactly when you are meant to. The Buddha's words echo, do not compare yourself to others. The sun and the moon do not compete. They shine when it is their time. Let this teaching rest within you. You have your own rhythm. You carry your own light. You are not behind, you are becoming. So make a vow to yourself. No more measuring your worth by another's journey. Instead, honor your own pace. Respect the unfolding of your path. Because peace does not come from racing others. It comes from releasing the need to compare at all. And when comparison loosens its grip on your heart, you are ready for the next step in healing. Perhaps the most difficult one of all, the practice of forgiving yourself. Lesson 8. Forgiveness as the gateway to freedom. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is strength in its quietest form. The strength to unchain your own heart before it ever touches the one who wronged you. The Buddha understood this truth deeply. Forgiveness is not something we grant to others as a gift they may or may not deserve. It is something we extend first to ourselves for the sake of our own liberation. Each of us carries wounds, betrayal, harsh words, abandonment, humiliation. And when the pain is fresh, the instinct is to hold on tightly. We replay the memory again and again, like pressing on a bruise. We convince ourselves that by refusing forgiveness, we protect our dignity, or that one day justice will balance the scales. We tell ourselves they don't deserve it. I'll never forget. But ask yourself gently, has clinging to that anger ever softened the wound? Has replaying the hurt ever brought you peace? Anger is fire, and fire consumes the vessel that holds it. The Buddha warned, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The longer we clutch it, the heavier we become, carrying poison in our own veins, mistaking it for protection. Forgiveness is not the denial of pain. It does not erase what was done. Instead, it is the decision to lay down the burden that has weighed on your soul. To say, yes, it hurt, but I will not carry it anymore. And this is not only about others. Sometimes the heaviest chains are the ones we place upon ourselves. Regrets that whisper, you should have known better. Dreams abandoned, words spoken in anger, choices that left scars. But self-forgiveness is the threshold of self-love. Until you can look into the mirror and say, I forgive you for being human, the door to deep healing remains closed. So today, take one small step. Release the resentment, not because the past deserves it, but because your spirit does. Forgive the one who wounded you. Forgive the one in the mirror. Do it not for them, but for your own peace. For forgiveness is not a favor, it is freedom. And once you step into that freedom, you will discover it was never about excusing the past. It was about reclaiming your future. Lesson 9. Mindfulness, the art of returning to now. Fatigue does not always come from the body. Often, the deepest exhaustion we carry is in the mind. Our thoughts run endlessly, one replaying yesterday's mistakes, another rushing ahead to tomorrow's worries. In this storm of distraction, something precious slips quietly through our hands, the peace of the present moment. The Buddha offered a simple but profound remedy: mindfulness. Mindfulness is not limited to sitting in silence or closing your eyes in meditation. It is the art of living with full awareness, of being completely present in whatever you are doing. When practiced, even the most ordinary moment becomes extraordinary. Consider how most mornings begin. For many, the first act of the day is to reach for a phone, diving headfirst into messages, noise, and comparison. But imagine instead, you open your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and simply notice the warmth of your blanket, the rhythm of your lungs, the miracle of waking to a new day. From there, let mindfulness guide the small rituals of life. When brushing your teeth, notice the coolness of the water, the gentle scratch of the bristles, the freshness that spreads across your mouth. These tiny details, often overlooked, can become anchors that draw you back into the present. The same practice extends to eating. Put aside the distractions of screens. Look at your food, smell it, taste it. Recognize the chain of life that brought it to you. Rain, soil, sunlight, and the hands that prepared it. Eating mindfully nourishes not only your body, but also your gratitude. Even walking can become meditation. Instead of rushing, slow down. Feel the ground rise to meet your feet. Hear the rhythm of your steps. Let each stride remind you, I am here. I am alive. Mindfulness also transforms the way we work. Instead of scattering attention across many things, choose one task. Be with it fully. Notice how the mind resists, wanting to escape into distraction. But stay. When you give your whole presence to a task, the result is not only productivity, but fulfillment. And perhaps most importantly, mindfulness changes how we love. The next time someone speaks to you, listen with your whole being. Don't prepare your reply. Don't rush them. Simply receive their words as they are. To feel truly heard is one of the greatest gifts you can offer another soul. At first, this practice may feel unfamiliar. The restless mind will tug you back towards speed and noise. But with patience, something shifts. The more present you are, the lighter life becomes. Peace is no longer a distant goal. It rises naturally, breath by breath. Over time, regrets loosen their grip, fears lose their weight, and gratitude begins to bloom within you. The Buddha's teaching becomes clear. Every moment is sacred. Mindfulness is the key that opens the door. And when you step fully into the present, even the most ordinary day begins to feel like a miracle. Lesson 10. Begin each morning as a sacred new start. Every morning is more than just the start of another day. It is a gift, a blank canvas, a fresh page waiting for you to write a new story upon it. But too often, instead of writing something new, we keep scribbling the same lines from yesterday, the same regrets, the same anger, the same heavy doubts. And then we wonder why nothing seems to change. The Buddha reminded us that the mind shapes our experience. If you wake each morning carrying the weight of yesterday, then today becomes nothing more than a repetition of the past. But if you rise with openness, today becomes a doorway, a chance to step into a life that feels lighter, freer, and filled with possibility. Think of the sun as it rises. It does not pause to ask if the night was peaceful or stormy. It does not judge the darkness that came before. It simply rises, offering its warmth without condition. In the same way, each morning greets you without judgment, whispering softly, "Here is another chance. Here is your moment to begin again." This is the hidden power of mornings. They are nature's way of giving you a reset, a reminder that no matter how painful, messy, or complicated yesterday was, you are not bound to it. With every sunrise, life offers you a choice. Will you carry yesterday's weight into this day, or will you release it and step into something new? So ask yourself gently when you wake, what energy do I want to carry into this day? Will it be worry, frustration, and stress? Or will it be gratitude, compassion, and clarity? The choice may seem small, but it shapes everything. The way you speak, the way you work, the way you love. Begin each morning by setting an intention. It does not need to be grand. It might be as simple as, today I will be kind, or today I will forgive, or even, today I will breathe deeply and let myself feel at peace. These small intentions are like seeds. When planted in the morning, they grow throughout the day, quietly transforming how you experience life. You can also make your mornings sacred by practicing presence. Before rushing to your phone or your tasks, pause. Feel the softness of your bed, the breath filling your lungs, the quiet miracle of being alive. Step outside if you can. Notice the colors of the sky, the sound of birds, the way the light touches the world. These moments may seem ordinary, but in truth they are extraordinary. They connect you back to the essence of being alive. Remember, life is not asking you to be perfect today. It is only asking you to begin again, to choose peace over chaos, to choose forgiveness over bitterness, to choose presence over distraction. So the next time you wake, don't drag yesterday's shadows into the light of this new day. Instead, Whisper to yourself, "Today, I am new again. Today, I begin fresh because every morning is not just the start of another day. It is the beginning of another life." And in that truth lies your greatest power. The power to start over as many times as you need until your days reflect the peace you deserve. Conclusion: we have walked through 10 timeless truths, each one a lantern lighting the path inward. From the law of impermanence to the courage of facing pain, to the quiet practice of forgiveness and mindfulness, these are not just teachings to be remembered. They are living practices, doorways into freedom, available to you in every breath, every choice, every new dawn. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that healing is not about chasing perfection, nor about erasing the past. It is about returning again and again to your true self, to the silence within, to the present moment, to the love and compassion already alive in your heart. So as you rise tomorrow and each day after, carry this truth with you. You are never stuck, never broken, never too late to begin again. Every morning is a fresh page, every breath a new chance, every moment an invitation to step into peace. Choose presence over distraction. Choose compassion over comparison. Choose forgiveness over bitterness. And most of all, choose to walk gently with yourself, as you would with someone you dearly love. Because when you heal yourself, you do not heal alone. Your peace ripples outward, touching your family, your community, and the world. So take a deep breath now. Feel the stillness inside you. Let these truths settle not just in your mind, but in your heart. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of love. And you are capable of beginning anew, today and every day that follows.